All right, picture this. You're stepping into the exam hall on the big day. The clock is ticking, the pressure is on, and you flip the page to find what looks like an absolute gift, a standard hexadecimal to denary conversion question. You quickly jot down the answer, totally confident you've just bagged those marks. But actually, you've just triggered a trap. You are now locked in a scenario where a simple, practically invisible calculation mistake is about to cost you everything.
So here's a pretty crazy stat. Why do 70% of well-prepared students end up losing these supposedly easy marks? I mean, it's not because they don't know what hexadecimal is, it's because they try to shortcut the examiner's logic. They treat the question like a quick mental math puzzle, instead of what it really is, a demonstration of computational processing. And when you're dealing with the Cambridge IGCSE computer science syllabus, how you prove your answer is literally just as critical as the answer itself.
Look, the harsh reality of the mark scheme is completely unforgiving here. Just one dropped mark on a foundational conversion question can honestly be the difference between grade boundaries. And your standard revision, just memorizing a few hex values, it entirely fails to protect you against this specific trap because it doesn't actually teach you how to satisfy the examiner's command words. So let's dive into this right now and construct a totally bulletproof method so you never ever drop these marks again.
Section 1. Unlocking Base 16 Number Systems.
Okay, so this is our foundational framework. It's the essential key to solving the whole hex conversion problem, because before we calculate anything, we really need to understand the environment we're working in. Computers rely on the binary system, right? Processing happens using physical components like registers and memory, which are built from tiny transistors, and those transistors either hold an electric charge, which is a 1, or they don't, which is a 0. Logic gates then make all their decisions based on those simple on and off states. So where exactly does hexadecimal fit into all this? Well, hexadecimal is a base 16 number system used for processing, but it acts as a much more human-friendly bridge. It uses the standard denary digits we all know, 0 through 9, but then it borrows alphabetic characters A through F to represent the values 10 through 15.
And this mapping perfectly illustrates that exact bridge. Notice how decimary maps straight to hexadecimal and then directly to a 4-bit binary nibble. Denary 10 becomes hex A, 11 becomes B, and 12 becomes C, all the way down to 15 being F. Converting any of these first 16 denary digits into its hexadecimal equivalent is incredibly straightforward because every single one maps perfectly to a 4-bit binary code, like 1111 for F. Honestly, memorizing this specific mapping is your very first layer of defense in the exam.
Section 2. The binary nibble method.
In just a minute, I'm going to show you the exact clue examiners leave that changes your final answer completely. But first, let's just demystify the mechanics here, step by step. The absolute safest way to convert hexadecimal back to denary is by using binary as your stepping stone. It's a simple 4-step process. Step 1, take the hexadecimal number and separate the digits. Step 2, convert those isolated digits back into their 4-bit binary nibble equivalents. Step 3, combine those two nibbles into a full 8-bit binary number, which we know is a byte. And finally, step 4, apply the standard binary place value method to convert that byte back into denary. Breaking it down like this makes the computational logic so much more accessible.
Section 3. Hexadecimal worked example. Converting 3C.
Let's see how this actually plays out in a realistic Cambridge-style exam scenario. I want you to challenge yourself right now to mentally predict the next steps as we go. Let's say the exam paper asks you to convert the hexadecimal number 30C to denary. Step 1 is super simple, but absolutely crucial. Break the problem apart. We separate the two parts of our hex number into 3 and C. Do not, I repeat, do not try to solve the whole thing at once. Isolate the digits first so you don't overload your brain.
All right, on to step 2. Pause for a second and think back to that mapping table we just looked at. What is the 4-bit binary nibble for 3? Well, it's 0011. And what about C? Remember, A is 10, B is 11, which means C is 12 in denary, and the binary nibble for 12 is 1100. The crucial takeaway here is that we've now safely translated both isolated parts into raw computer logic. Now for step 3. This is where we snap the puzzle pieces together. We simply take those two 4-bit nibbles, 0011 and 1100, and combine them to create a complete 8-bit binary number, a full byte, 00111100. Boom! By doing this, we've successfully transitioned entirely from hexadecimal into binary. And finally, step 4. We just apply our standard binary place values, reading from right to left.
1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. We only care about the columns that actually hold a 1. So, scanning from the left, our first active 1 lands in a 32 column. We drop that number down.
Moving down the line to the right, the very next bit is also a 1, sitting perfectly in the 16 column. So we add 16 to our running total. Keep going through our 8-bit byte, and the next one we hit is in the 8 column. We drop the 8 down to join the others.
And the final active 1 in our sequence sits right in the 4 column. We add the 4. The last 2 bits in the 2 and 1 positions are zeros, so we can literally just ignore them.
Now we sum it all up. 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4. That perfectly equals 60. And there we have it. We've proven, without a shadow of a doubt, that the hexadecimal number 3C translates exactly to 60 in Denary.
Section 4. Mastering exam command words.
Okay, here is that examiner-level clue that dictates exactly how you need to format your answer if you want full marks. Take a look at this comparison. We have a flawed student answer. 3C is 60. Now, technically, the final number is correct, but the room remains locked. You've triggered the trap. Why? Because the examiner's mark scheme is specifically looking for your process. Compare that to the top band answer. It explicitly states the nibbles. 3 equals 0011. C equals 1100. It shows the combined byte, 00111100. And it shows the arithmetic. 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 equals 60. This mark scheme safe upgrade is what guarantees you every single available mark.
Really, this all boils down to mastering those specific Cambridge command words. If a question asks you to state or define, they want you to be concise. If it says describe, you need to give characteristics. Explain requires the why or the how. But for the math-heavy stuff we're looking at in this explainer, the focus is usually on calculate or show. When you see show you're working, the examiner is demanding your binary nibble proof. They're actively testing your computational thinking, not just your ability to do mental math.
You've got to keep this golden rule from the examiners in your head at all times. One mark usually needs one distinct technical point. Avoid repeating one point in different wording. This constraint is so vital. You have to think of the examiner as a really strict robot. They want clear, hard data points, not poetry. When you explicitly write out your points, identifying the first nibble, the second nibble, the combined byte, and the final sum, you are systematically ticking off distinct, unique technical points on their rubric, and you're wasting absolutely no time on fluff. So, you've totally mastered the calculation. You know exactly how to show you're working. But what happens when the exam escalates things? What if they throw a really complex network or security scenario your way and demand that you use the evaluate command word based on hexadecimal MAC addresses or error codes? Suddenly, the room locks again, and your current calculation knowledge just isn't enough to secure those top band marks.
That final room is going to remain locked until you truly understand the top band evaluation framework. So, to make sure you don't miss that absolutely crucial next step, subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. You have the calculation mechanism down perfectly now, but ask yourself this. If a single hex error can crash an entire computer network, are you truly ready to evaluate the fallout? I'll see you in the next explainer, where we finally unlock that last door.